So here I have a phone that has seen better days. I don't even know if it still works. I think it does. My project I'm doing here is not to resurrect the phone, but to reallocate it to a different use. And I don't even know if it'll work. We'll see if it works. So let's start by taking it apart. It's got one screw here, a fancy little crack here I could use if I need to get it apart. But we'll start with unscrewing this. It's rather tight, but we'll get it. If not, we'll see how the crack works. Tight little thing. I think we got it. Yes, we did. There it is. So we don't need that. Oh, and there's my screw. I don't know if I'll need that later. I doubt it. Now, let's get the board off. Here we have our red and our green wire. Green was common, red was where the power comes in. And we don't, again, care where the voice goes. This looks like the microphone. I would guess that that's the ringer. When it rings, this is the speaker for the ringer. I'm not going to need that. And this is the speaker to listen to. I will need that. Now let's see. How many screws are here? Here's one. Might just be that one right there. It's a little easier. Now this is the volume control. I don't know if the camera will focus on that, but I might need that. So we'll carefully take him out of here. You know what, I think I'm going to leave him in here for now, for a moment, and see if when I put power to it, if I can get tones. Because those are what I'm interested in, are the tones. I don't know how long of a pigtail I need this. I was thinking of cutting it right about here. Get it on camera there. Maybe I'll want more. Yeah, maybe I'll want more. I wish it wasn't curly here, but if I don't like the curly stuff, I could cut the straight thing and resolder it in there and cut this end off. That might be what I end up doing, but we'll wait and see. I think I'll start with cutting this off. Way up here, so I said. Cut that off with this handy dandy cutter, or I'll use a knife. And then we can strip those down. I think I'm off camera here. Okay. I'm not very good at doing this sort of thing. Then we can hook it up to power and see if we have the little tones. I don't know if the tones are generated in this or with the phone company. If they're not generated in this, then it's a wash. It's not a project worth that I can do. Because I need the tones to be generated in this. I think they are. I don't know why they wouldn't be. With as much circuitry as in there, they must be. There's oscillators in there, audio oscillators in there somewhere. So we're going to get this ready to hook up to some power and see what happens. Okay, I am back. I couldn't deal with these tiny wires, curly wires were just too hard to deal with, trying to get the insulation off and get them to hook up where I wanted them to. So I just got me a jumper here. I didn't have a 300 ohm resistor, so I made a chain of resistors to make it 294 ohms, which is close enough. And then I hooked it up to this little power supply that supplies 9 volts at 300 milliamps. And if I plug it in, connect it up, I could hear some static. I'm sure you couldn't hear my speakers down here. So I got power to it. Now I want to see if I can get the tones to it. So how I'm going to do that is take these buttons out of here. I tell you, working with that thin wire is just not worth it. You need a special tool to strip that, I think. So we'll put this on here, and I don't hear any tones. Are we hooked up? Maybe. Oh, no, I hear the static. Maybe it wasn't. Yeah, there it is. There it is. He's not cooperating at all. There we go. Hopefully you can hear that. We got our tones. So that's what I want, is the tones. I wonder if our volume is low. Let's see if that makes a difference. Well, that was high. What you heard was high. So I think we need to put either a better speaker on there, or we may have to amplify it. Yeah, that's high. That's what I wanted. And I don't know how those buttons work. I don't think they're metal. I don't think it shorts them out. Let me see if those are... some kind of ferrite or something that shorts them out. There's conductance there. I mean, yeah, it's conducting. Interesting. Because I know nothing about how a phone works. Very little. I had to... Oops, that's not voltage. I don't want voltage. I want ohms. They're very low resistance. It says 66. I don't know what they are. I might have to read up on how those buttons work. Because my bare finger won't do it. I'm afraid to short it out. Unless it's just some kind of ferrite. And it sounds like there's 2 tones in there. But we've gotten this far that I can put power to it. and push the buttons, and it makes the tones. So I'll have to see how to make the tones louder and how that part works. And I'll be well on my way for this, just for the fun of it. This is not a serious project everybody's gonna do. It's just a project that I want to see if I can reassign this to some other use. And we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I put this together more. I did a little more looking at things and found out that the tones are generated in this little circuit right here. If you put a speaker, like a speaker wire to it, put that in the picture there, one of these to various ones of these leads coming out of this, you'll hear the different tones. They're very quiet. It's before they're amplified, and they're generated together in that integrated circuit. And I did a little reading. I found out that there's actually two tones. I thought it sounded like there was more than one tone when you push a touch tone telephone. It generates two tones, and then you get a product. I think you get a total of 3 tones. So I was hoping, well, I could find a place along here where you only got one, but you don't, because all of them are generated and mixed in here and then sent to the amplifier and the keypad buttons, which were on here. These are the 10 keypad spots. So I wired up a 9-volt DC for the power supply. Now the battery, it is connected to the wire that's like this one that plugs into the wall socket, the phone jack on the wall. So that wire I took off, and there's a red and a green. That not only supplies your audio from the phone company, they supply you the power to this through that wire. And your green one you'll want to do to the black wire on the battery. So it'd be the negative goes to the green, the positive goes to the red. And then these resistors I just read in an article when I was trying to figure out how this exactly worked. They said put in this, I think it's 300 ohms, I don't remember. I said it at the beginning of the video and now I forgot what it is, but all it is to limit the current into there. But I have a feeling it's not even necessary when you're hooked up to a battery. If you were hooked up to a power supply of some other kind of power supply that was, say, variable, and you could set it like I had earlier in the video, I had it wired up to a little power supply that had a slider on it to go from like 3 volts to 12 volts or something, and I put it on 9 volts. And then I just hook this up for the battery, and your black one goes to the green, your red one goes to the red, and your resistors, I believe it was 300 ohms, goes to the red one also. And I hooked up where the audio comes out for those tones. I hooked up a speaker. This is where the amplification is done, is in here. And then I shorted out I put these wires for the key for this, I think that it says on there, the number 5 tone. And is what it does, one wire is hooked to that little squiggly thing. I don't know if you can see, I don't know if that can come out in the camera or not. Yeah, you kind of see it here. There's a little squiggly circuit there, and underneath it, I believe that's common ground. So when you push those buttons, under that button pad is a ferrite bead that will allow contact on the squiggly thing, the squiggly part of the circuit, onto the common ground and complete the circuit and generate the tone inside this little character. So I hooked one lead to the common ground, I believe it's that one, and then the other lead, and it looks like it's just the opposite. It's hard to tell. It's here's the button. Yeah, it's hard to tell where. I think that looks like my work. Maybe my work. That might be my work there too. Can't quite tell. So anyway, one of them is to common ground and one of them is to this guy. So I picked the tone that I kind of liked, which was the 5 tone. Also one that was convenient to wire up, that I figured out where to hook the wire. And that is for the key. Then I hooked my speaker here up to the output, and that's my battery. So we'll plug that in, put that there, and you now have a code oscillator. Problem is there's 3 tones. I could go to the problem of the work of trying to filter out 2 of those 3 tones. Not for this project, because this isn't going to be something that I'm going to be using all the time. I just wanted to see if I could do it, figure out how it could be done, and this was the best I could come up with this phone. Now other phones may be different, and it may be easier for to do it with a different kind of phone, but this was a cheap phone that I didn't care if I wrecked it or not. So I'm going to move this speaker out over here closer to the camera. That's another. There's a lot of issues with this, of course, because a real code oscillator, you would have choices of different tones. You would have a variable resistor to change the tone to your desired pitch. Here, if you wanted to do that, unsolder these and solder them to a different punch pad, their button pad. But yeah, like I'm not going to do that either. But here it is. But it sounds terrible. It sounds like signal. You have a RST report, a readability, signal, and tone, and your readability here might be 5, but your signal quality is going to be like a 3, and your tone is going to be like a 3 because you got 3 of them going there. But that's what I came up with. I was hoping to do better. I was hoping to actually have it a little louder than it is. I can hear it easy. I don't know that it's picked up by the camera microphone without holding that right up to it, but I think you can hear it, because I can hear it pretty well. But not great. If there was a lot of ambient noise in the room, it would not be heard very well. So this is what I came up with. Like I said, I was hoping I could have a single tone, and I suppose you could build some type of audio filter to filter out the other 2. But if you're going to go to that much trouble, you might as well build the oscillator. Then you wouldn't have to filter it. You would just have the oscillator and an amplifier for it, a better one than this is, and it'd be a lot easier to adjust everything. You just turn a rheostat or other variable resistor, a potentiometer, to change the tone or raise the volume or whatever you want to do. And that's why I didn't. I found a box. I thought, you know, I'll make a little like tin box or something for it, and yeah, so I didn't do that. I ain't gonna go to that much trouble to box it up. So I got this black box, and you can stuff it in the black box. If I can find the bottom of the black box, and you can just stuff it in there. I ain't even mounting it. I was going to like screw it into a little tin box, make it all fancy, and it's like, yeah, if it had good tonal quality, I would do that. And there you go. If you're desperate for an oscillator, you don't want to throw your phone away, you can do that with this. And the clicking on this key is almost louder than that tone. Probably drowns it out, I don't know. There's also, I notice there's a little bit of a delay when you push this down between DAWs and DITs. There's a little slight delay, so it seems like you're only going to be able to achieve a certain speed. You're not going to be able to get way up there with it. But that was my effort to see what I could do with my phone. This is what I came up with. I'm kind of disappointed with it. I was thinking I shouldn't even put this on YouTube. It's kind of silly, but I went through the effort, so I'll put it on there. Hopefully you like it. If you do, like it. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, subscribe. But here it is, a telephone code oscillator for what it's worth. Yeah, it's not the greatest thing. It has a little bit of a delay in there. Oh boy.